So thanks a lot, Deirdre, for the introduction, and thanks a lot, everyone here, for coming. As Deirdre explained a little bit, this project is about really engaging university industry interaction, but in this project we're in particular trying to sorry, Deirdre, just go forward. Yeah, we're university. It's a university industry knowledge alliance. So we have the 7 university partners. We have the Corporate International, SAP. We also have the Irish Small Medium Enterprises Association and EBN. So we're aiming to work together over the next 3 years to strengthen Europe's software innovation capacity by improving the linkages between us, but especially to increase the uptake of software innovation in SMEs and startups in non-software sectors as well. So this is particularly where the role of EBN comes in, and ISME in this project. I think Liz from ISME is here as well, and we'd be really interested to listen to you in the during the coffee break to engage with you to find out how we can work together in this project. But first of all, just to give us an idea of who is in the room, how many people here are from third level education institutions? Okay, great. How many people from large companies? And how many from SMEs? Excellent. And any from startups? Excellent. So really, especially, we're interested to engage with everyone, but especially the SMEs and startups. We set the question for this presentation for us to know at this stage as we set out on the journey, is there a role for intermediaries to play a connecting role in the university SME interaction during the project? So what I will do in this presentation is very much an introduction to EBN, some examples of how we are engaging through our network with universities, connecting universities and SMEs. But one just to mention at the start, it will come through, you'll hear from us. We're very strong when it comes to the research, getting research results to market, training researchers to license their products at that stage. But a new thing for us, and what's interesting in this HUBLinked initiative, is we need to get the talent. The startups are increasingly coming to us and saying, our members of our network, we can't find the talent, we can't find the skills, so the skills shortage in Europe. So what is EBN? EBN is a network of 150 quality certified EU business and innovation centres, incubators, accelerators, and about 100 other associate members who are working in this space to support the development and growth of entrepreneurs, startups and SMEs. So the associate members are often innovation-based universities. They're VC funds, they're research consultancies, these types of organisations. And what I always say is we're a small team in Brussels. We're anywhere between 10 and 14, depending on the level of volume of activities in the EBN's headquarters in Brussels. But it's our members. It's the 250 members all across Europe and internationally, as you can see from this map, who are doing the work. We coordinate them. We connect them in special interest groups, sectoral interest groups, which I'll tell you a little bit about. And that's where we understand the challenges that they're coming up with, and we look together to work together to solve those, especially in European projects. This is a really valuable way for us to connect with new partners, to meet new stakeholders, and to pilot test new ways of working together. As an organisation, EBN itself started as a project, but over 30 years ago, back in the 1980s, there was the economic depression, economic crisis, especially in the outermost regions of Europe. So that was traditionally where our members were in the very early days. By connecting in the network and sharing the experiences they were having at European level, they very quickly skilled up. They didn't repeat the same mistakes. They also found it was a really great way to help their companies to take advantage of the European single market. So if the member in West Cork needed to have contact in Berlin for their SME, they could very quickly tap into the network of it. So one of the outputs of the HUBLinked project as well, we hope will be a HUBLinked association in which we'll connect the universities, the SMEs, the larger industry players. So we hope that this can we can help shape the sustainability of that we will have something we'll still be talking about HUBLinked 10, 15 years from now. This is the picture of a typical EU BIC. So it's quite, they typically support about 140 startups, 80 SMEs, and work this is EBN, and work with 4 on average, large corporates in their region. So in an area like Dublin, that will be, of course, much bigger. We'll hear from Alan from SAP later. There is such a large concentration of multinationals in an area like Dublin that our BIC here would work with well over 10. To have 32 successful startups, they typically deal with nearly 600 inquiries. So there's a huge outreach engagement, and then to filter those into the ones. There's a lot of support, especially at European level now. We have the Startup Europe initiative. It's the buzzword. It's on trend. We need to support startups. But not everybody can be an entrepreneur. Not everybody necessarily needs to be. Their budget is typically 1/3 private funding, 2/3 publicly funded, but that's on average across the 150 certified members. So most of them would tend to be public-private partnerships. We have some fully private, some fully public. It depends, very much changes different countries, how they use the regional development funding in Europe. The facilities they offer, typical incubation facilities, co-working spaces, office spaces. But it's also, what's really important is the suite of services that goes with that. The coaching, the mentoring, the connections with investors. So our members here in Ireland, we have 4 members. They manage the Halo Business Angel Network. So the very early stage companies that they're working with can be coached, introduced to the investors. Then it's very attractive for the potential investors. They know these companies have gone through the process. They're not going to waste their time. This is the data based on the data from 2014. What is particularly interesting for us is because we have this certification process every year, we collect the data from our 150 members. And this allows us to track what's probably most interesting for you here is the survival rate. It typically is around 90% within the incubation period and 87% after 3 years. So that's very, very high when you think of the amount of turnover there is in startups and companies at that stage. The cost per job is something that's also very interesting for policymakers. That's why we track the data. It helps us to inform them. If this is also, it means if the figures are being skewed, we can notice very quickly if the survival rate is dropping or if the cost per job is depending more on public sector funding than previously. But a typical job created costs less than 9,000, just around €9,000, 1/3 again, private funding, 2/3 public funding. These are our members in Ireland. So in Galway, they have about 5 centres over in Galway. They have West BIC, the central office is in Galway, but they also have in Mayo, Letterkenny. Southeast BIC in Waterford, Cork BIC in Cork. Of course, we mentioned that we have partners here from Korea. Some of their colleagues who work in pharmacology have gone down to meet University College Cork there. Our member in Cork, of course, works very closely with the university there, so they tend to have a lot of pharma companies coming through. And here in Dublin, the Dublin Business and Innovation Centre, which has its main central office in Trinity. They run the Guinness Enterprise Centre just beside the Guinness Storehouse factory. This is the EBN Community and how we would like to know how we can do better, especially in the when it comes to the universities and business school interaction. As I said, this is something that we've been doing very well when it comes to getting research results to market, when it comes to supporting SMEs to get access to the cutting edge technologies. But how can we improve this through the project HUBLinked to help the startups and SMEs get access to the talent that's coming up through our universities? This is where we see the different interactions along the innovation value chain. So I just put the red box around the ones that are maybe most interesting here when it comes to university industry interaction. So with academia, of course, students are getting more demanding. It's been fascinating to spend the last 2 days with 7 university partners and hear about all of the work that goes into keeping the students happy and to producing graduates, to ensuring that they qualify with the skills they need for the real world, as Kieran was presenting. I really liked the focus on the real world there, that it's not just abstract, disconnected. So it can be very attractive for universities to support entrepreneurial learning. The area where we're a little bit stronger in, again, is the access to supporting SMEs to work with universities to have access to technologies. The open innovation, connecting universities, corporates, societal actors. I know there was at one stage talk here of having St. John of God's, somebody present to show how by bringing the different stakeholders together, we now talk more and more about the quintuple helix of innovation. I took the slide out, thought it might be a bit much, but just to really, this open learning from all the different stakeholders. Spin-off support and applied research, where we have a lot of experience in that. So just to give you some examples of what we're doing in that space at the moment, these are 2 projects that we're running. FET2RIN, FET, that stands for Future Emerging Technologies. And we're running capacity building workshops for researchers in this area to get them thinking at the very early stage of their research about how this could potentially be applied in the real world, how they can become entangled in a flexible way in the real world. So we just opened up their eyes to the different models that are available. CombiBiz is about building bridges. It's specifically focused in bioeconomy research and business. And it's where we have opened up a competition for all publicly funded bioeconomy research. If they have an interest in developing a business out of their research, or if they would like some support to license their research or whatever, they can benefit from that. I think we will support 50 companies in that over the next three years. And this builds on previous work that we have done. One area where we've seen huge success has been the creative industries. Again, up until about 2007, the European Commission, the public funding was being invested hugely in digital libraries technologies. And then they said, hey, what's the return on investment for this? So one of the first European projects I worked on was connecting those research projects with incubators and identifying which of the technologies could be taken up. Another example, I don't know, has anybody here come across the FIWARE program? So FIWARE was again another publicly funded initiative. It was a public-private partnership between the European Union and several large-scale multinationals to develop future internet technologies. The output was to be this FIWARE platform, but then they realised at the end of it, it was a lot of the funding was up until 2013, but very near towards the end, they realised they weren't engaging SMEs. So they ran 16 accelerators in areas such as smart cities, e-health, creative industries, mobility, transport. So this was just an example that I wanted to include here as the potential applications of software innovation beyond the pure software sector. Then what our idea at the beginning of this project, again, coming back to the question, is there a role for intermediaries to support SMEs and startups to have access to the talent that's being developed in universities, to look for the internships so they can have a first engagement to see if it's a good fit? This is how we work with our members to support the internationalization of the startups and SMEs. It's a very light, flexible way. Typically, we find that the startups won't set up an office in a company until they have a significant client base, but they can already at a very early stage through the EBN network, through our members, they have the smart takeoff. This requires a lot of work. So where we have SME in this, we're wondering, would there be a role here for university incubator, take DIT, take Ireland as an example, to work with the student instead of the startup, to prepare them to go abroad for an internship. Then on there would be the intermediary, there would be a platform. In this platform, you would see the needs potentially of the startups all across Europe, even Korea. We have this partner that are engaged, that have access to this through the HUBLinked association. And then in the target country, so an Irish student could go to Slovenia, for example. We have the University of Ljubljana as one of the partners in this project. Could then the Ljubljana startup be working very closely with their university just to make this mobility, to make it really happen? This works very, very well for the startup acceleration. We've been doing it a lot since 2013. We've worked now with about 250 companies where we've been tracking the data, specifically in the creative industries. We're just wrapping up a project where through this type of model, we were able to, with the €1 million investment we received from the European Commission, we've already tracked €5 million cross-border investment, so international investment, that the companies we've taken through this programme have come up with. So we see it really working with the SMEs, and we're just wondering, is there a role that we could adapt this to help the SMEs as well as helping them to access new investment, access new clients? Can we use this model also to help them access new upcoming talent to keep working and growing? So that's it. Our communications manager wouldn't forgive me if I didn't give a plug to the Congress that she's organising in July. We're hoping we'll already have some examples of university industry interaction, energising ecosystems that we can present at this, but that's it for now. I think we don't have the HUBLinked social media set up yet, as far as I know, do we? No. So in the meantime, you can follow us at EUBIC, and as soon as the HUBLinked social media is set up, we'll be tweeting about it, so please stay engaged. Thank you.